This is a 33-page document that is probably sitting on every world leader's desk as we speak. It is titled National Security Strategy of the United States of America. And buried inside this is an idea that feels old, almost antique, but it may define how power works in the year 2026. In the year 1823, President James Monroe declared that the Western Hemisphere was America's backyard. The Western Hemisphere being almost half of the Earth, the North, Central and South America, and also the surrounding water. Monroe saw the zone as off-limits for everyone else. Now, 2 centuries later, the Monroe Doctrine has found its mention in Trump's national security strategy, not as a think of the past, but as next year's policy. The document says, and I'm quoting from it, "We will assert and enforce a Trump corollary." Now, corollary is just a fancy word for a proposition to the Monroe Doctrine. We want a hemisphere that remains free of hostile foreign incursion or ownership of key assets. Now, it frames Latin America not as a collection of sovereign partners, but as strategic real estate that must be secured, managed, and defended. Now, one immediately thinks of what's happening in Venezuela.
I don't rule out that. I don't rule out anything. We just have to take care of Venezuela. They dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country.
Now, Trump is using Venezuela's narcotics issue to send out a message to the entire region that this version of the Monroe Doctrine is already in the works. So if MAGA foreign policy dictates the Western Hemisphere is owned by the US, does that legitimize Russia's dominance in Eastern Europe, China's ambitions in the South China Sea, or Iran's plans for the Middle East?
What you can see is the very worrying trend, which is all of this is starting to bring the major powers into more direct confrontation. More and more talk we hear about the possibility of a European-Russia war. Just this week, we've had the Secretary General of NATO saying that there's a high possibility that in the next 4 to 5 years of a direct conflict